Why the Quarantine is Bad for America by Sam Weber. Every 80 to 100 years, the world is changed by a plague. While the Black Death has been the culprit more than any other plague in history, the world today is experiencing a different kind of plague. COVID-19, while brand new on the world stage, is causing the next recession or even the next Great Depression. With the economy turning downhill fast and the mortality rate of the virus increasing ever so slowly, the people of America have begun to realize that they cannot let the government shut down the country. Many people may be wondering why others are protesting this, and it is because of these three reasons. The quarantine is leading us into the next depression, the quarantine is a violation of the Constitution, and the coronavirus is an overblown case of the mild flu. It is no surprise that the economy is suffering. The economy will suffer regardless of the quarantine, but that is not the point. The quarantine and its restrictive rules have caused many hardworking Americans to lose their jobs, with, according to Oxford Economics, a whopping 6.6 million people filed for unemployment, which is, quote, incomprehensible numbers. These numbers may not seem that large considering what's happening, but that increases the total unemployment to 10.1%. At a minimum, according to RSM's advisory forum as of April 4th. However, on April 16th, RSM calculated that to be around 18%. In February, the recorded national unemployment was 3.5%. This staggering change in unemployment is approaching the 1933 height of the Depression, which was at 25%. The economy and life as we know it will take a turn for the worst if we aren't able to get people back to work. However, it is probably too late as investors have already lost faith in the current economy and are most likely unwilling to put money back into it for a long time. The average prediction now is that the economy will take at least 2 to 3 years just for corporate profits to return where we are now, according to RSM. For Americans, however, there is something of even greater value: the Constitution. The Constitution guarantees us liberty and rights that has stood the test of time and created a powerful nation with its liberating words. This quarantine, however, is quite possibly one of the greatest infringements on individual liberties that this country has seen in a long time. In short, here is how easy it is for the U.S. government to declare a quarantine for its own citizens. Under Section 361 of the Public Health Service Act, the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services has the power to take measures to contain communicable diseases from foreign countries into the United States and between the states. According to the CDC, however, states have most of the power in creating and enforcing quarantines. Even though the federal government and our own president has been considering creating state border quarantines, which is within the legal limit of the federal government, well, then people have begun to ask, how is this quarantine unconstitutional? The states have the power to quarantine people within reason, and that within reason part is where the law has begun to become disputed. Many people around the country have begun protesting the stay-at-home order, yelling, "Stop that shutdown, and we do not consent." These quotes are from the Minnesota protest that took place outside of the state capitol building. The government has overstepped its bounds in what it's able to do, and within reasonable because they have been shutting down certain businesses for seemingly no reason. Some governors have begun to allow select businesses to reopen, and if they meet certain requirements of safety for their employees, which is fair. However, Americans have begun to question how much power the government has and how far they are willing to impede on individual rights, and as Americans, this will be taken very seriously for everyone. The last thing to discuss is the direct dangers of COVID-19. As everyone knows, the coronavirus is a highly contagious flu. Like the virus is a highly contagious flu-like virus, with 1 in 4 being asymptomatic, meaning that you may have the virus, but you may not be receiving symptoms of it. This is a disturbingly high number of people that could be walking around and spreading the virus without even knowing that they have the virus, with a study showing that 9 in 10 people are contagious before they start showing any symptoms. Not to mention that there can be up to a 14-day incubation period of the virus. All these factors are very scary and make this virus seem like it's one of the worst ones yet. This is yet all fear in the moment, however. The coronavirus, in more than 80% of cases, is mild and comparable to a light flu, with the most common symptoms being dry fever, dry cough, and tiredness. That is it for most cases. That is it. In rare and hard-hitting cases, it also includes sore throat, diarrhea, and aches and pains in very rare cases. The government has shut down the entire economy over something comparable to the minor flu. This is quite an embarrassment. Some people will argue that the mortality rate of corona is slightly higher than the flu. While this is true, the reality is that those people, majority being elderly, already suffer from health complications and would have just been as likely to suffer from a fatal experience from the winter's flu that year. The government has clearly overstepped its bounds of reasonable cause. The coronavirus has cost the American economy millions of jobs and at a minimum 2 to 3 years of catch-up profits. The US government has clearly overstepped its bounds in its authority to the people with this silly overextended quarantine. And with its overreaction to what a minor threat the coronavirus is to the United States. In opinion, had the government never known that it was the coronavirus, it wouldn't have treated this differently than any other winter. Soon the government will hopefully realize that it's overstepped its bounds, and lawyers will be on the chase to make sure it keeps the reasonable cause in line for when something minor changes the world again. The coronavirus isn't a problem, and neither is the flu, so start opening up businesses, open up the US again, and save our nation from the next Great Depression.